Hare
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Jayādvaita Gadadhara Shivasari Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayādvaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parikajacharya Ashtodarasta Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kunigiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamayi Ki Jai Jamunamayi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Akendra Prabhu, and welcome to all. We're on December 2nd, 2022 in Vrindavan, or December 1st in New York. And we're reading from Caitanya Caritamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 4, Text 82. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutade Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Tatati Shapadantikam Mandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Shagrashatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stan Sahivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Pavijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitam Shri Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shundravadi Pashtati Deshatani He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchako Putarubyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patita Nam Padanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this portion of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj has been discussing the internal reasons for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. The Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti Rasmad. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the embodiment of Krishna in the role of the devotee of Krishna, specifically taking the mood and complexion of Srimati Radharani, in this connection, Kaviraj Goswami has been explaining the energies of Krishna. First, we have the internal, external, and marginal energy.
It doesn't seem to be coming back in. Can anyone hear my voice?
I can hear you just fine.
I don't know if Maharaj can hear. Might be better if we started over. I'm not sure.
I don't know. He's off.
Looks like he lost connection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's off.
Oh,
Praveen was asking me if the connection was good, and at the time he asked, it was good. But then 2 minutes later,
yes,
Hare Krishna.
okay. Well, if they can't hear us, they probably can't read the chat either, but I'm going to make a note on the chat.
Yeah. Praveen might still be connected. Okay.
Oh, he's there. Okay, great.
We got tossed just as we were beginning, but give it another go. Govinda Nandani Radha Govinda Mohini Govinda Sarvasha Sarvakanta Shiromani. Radha is the one who gives pleasure to Govinda, and she is also the enchantress of Govinda. She is the be-all and end-all of Govinda, and the crest jewel of all his consorts. Devi Krishna Mai Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarva Lakshmi Mai Sarva Kanti Sammohani Para. The transcendental goddess, Srimati Radharani, is the direct counterpart of Lord Sri Krishna. She is the central figure for all the goddesses of fortune. She possesses all the attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. She is the primeval internal potency of the Lord. Purport: this text is from the Brihad Gautamiya Tantra. Devi Kohi Yotamana Padama Sundari Kimva Krishna Puja Kridar Vasati Nagari. Devi means resplendent and most beautiful, or else it means the lovely abode of the worship and love sports of Lord Krishna. Krishna Mai, Krishna Jar, Vitore Bahire, Yaha Yaha Netra Pare, Taha Krishna Spure. Krishna Mai means one who's within and without our Lord Krishna. She sees Lord Krishna wherever she casts her glance. Kimva prema rasha maya krishner shadu tar shakti tar shaha hoy ekaru. Or Krishnamaya means that she's identical with Lord Krishna, for she embodies the mellows of love. The energy of Lord Krishna is identical with him. Purport. Krishnamaya has two different imports. First, a person who always thinks of Krishna, both within and without, and who always remembers only Krishna wherever he goes or whatever he sees, is called Krishnamaya. Also, since Krishna's personality is full of love, his loving potency, Radharani, being non-different from him, is called Krishnamaya. Krishnavansha Purti Ru Kore Aradhane Ataeva Radhika Nam Purane Bhakane. Her worship, Aradhana, consists of fulfilling the desires of Lord Krishna. Therefore, the Puranas call her Radhika. Purport. The name Radha is derived from the root word Aradhana, which means worship. The personality who excels all in worshiping Krishna may therefore be called Radhika, the greatest servitor. Anaya Radhito Nunam Bhagavan Harir Isharaha Yanno Vihaya Govinda Prito Yam Anayadraha. Truly, the personality of Godhead has been worshipped by her. Therefore, Lord Govinda, being pleased, has brought her to a lonely spot, leaving us all behind. Purport. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:30-28. The name of Srimati Radharani is not directly spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam, but here in this verse, the gopis say that this one gopi that Krishna has taken off with to a secret place must be exceedingly dear to him. Her aradhana, her service to Krishna, must be the best. So from that hint, we get the understanding that this gopi is Srimati Radharani. And elsewhere in the Puranas, she's directly identified. Ateva Sarva Puja Parama Devata Sarva Palika Sarva Yogatera Mata. Therefore, Radha is Parama Devata, the supreme goddess, and she is worshipable for everyone. She is the protectress of all, and she is the mother of the entire universe. Sarva Lakshmi Shabda Purbe Koriyachi Vyakyan Sarva Lakshmi Ganertiho An Adita. I've already explained the meaning of Sarva Lakshmi. Radha is the original source of all the goddesses of fortune. Kimba Sarvalakshmi Krishner Shadvita Aishwarya Tar Adishtatri Shokti Sarva Shokti Varya. Or Sarvalakshmi indicates that she fully represents the six opulences of Krishna. Therefore, she is the supreme energy of Lord Krishna. Sarva Shaundarya Kanti Vaishyaye Yahate Sarva Lakshmi Kaner Shobha Hoy Yaha Hoite. The word Sarvakanti indicates that all beauty and luster rest in her body. All the Lakshmis derive their beauty from her. Kimva Kanti Shobde Krishner Shob Ichcha Kohe Krishner Shokala Pancha Radhate Roy. Kanti may also mean all the desires of Lord Krishna. All the desires of Lord Krishna rest in Srimati Radharani. Radhika Korin Krishner Vanchita Purana Sarvakanti Shobdere Arta Vipuran. Srimati Radhika fulfills all the desires of Lord Krishna. This is the meaning of Sarvakanti. Jagat Mohan Krishna Tahar Mohini Oteva Shamashter Para Thakurani. Lord Krishna enchants the world, but Sri Radha enchants even him. Therefore, she is the supreme goddess of all. Radha Purna Shakti Krishna Purna Shakti Ma Vi Vastu Vedanai Shastra Parama. Sri Radha is the full power, and Lord Krishna is the possessor of full power. The two are not different, as evidenced by the revealed scriptures. Mrigamada Darganta Joiche Avichchade Ogni Jwalate Joiche Kabu Nahipe. They are indeed the same, just as musk and its scent are inseparable, whereas fire and its heat are non-different. Radha Krishna Aiche Shada Ekai Sharu Lila Rasha Aswadite Tore Dviru. Thus, Radha and Lord Krishna are one, yet they have taken two forms to enjoy the mellows of pastimes. Prema Bhakti Shikaite Apone Avatari Radha Bhav Kantidvi Angikara Kori. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Rupe Koilo Avatar Eta Pancham Slokir Artha Prachar. To promulgate Prema Bhakti, devotional service in love of Godhead, Krishna appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya with the mood and complexion of Sri Radha. Thus I have explained the meaning of the fifth verse. Any questions so far? I'm on my phone, so I can't really see the chat box. So if there are any questions, maybe you can help me out. I see a hand. Okay, Tulsi Priya.
Yes, Maharaj. It just occurred to me for the very first time, and maybe I've heard this before and forgot, but for the first time in 30 years of hearing about Krishna consciousness, I just wondered if Krishna can expand himself unlimitedly, and Radharani also expands into unlimited goddesses of fortune, then for the purposes of enjoying loving exchanges, all that's necessary is Krishna and Radha, and if they want to up the enjoyment, they keep expanding themselves. So I'm wondering, what is the need for marginal living entities when we're so much trouble?
This question came up last night in our Krishna book reading. What is the need for the living entities? Why does Krishna need to expand marginal living beings? And as far as I gave this answer, that this question comes up in commentaries basically of all the Vaishnava Acharyas. Why this problematic expansion of a potency that has a tendency to fall down? Why this expansion of living beings who can be overwhelmed by the material energy? Why does that happen? Why does Godhead do that? For what purpose? The Acharyas in this regard refer to, I think it's two different sutras, two successive sutras from the Vedanta Sutras. Srila Ramanujacharya comments about this, and Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan in his Govinda Pasha comments on this, and other acharyas as well. And there are different, I don't recall what the sutras were, but they essentially raised this question of the responsibility of Godhead for our suffering, and for having expanded such fallible living beings. And the Acharyas give different comments. As I recall, and I'm going from imperfect memory here, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan says that Krishna is like a person dancing. When a person dances out of his own happiness, then things happen. His cloth spins about, and sometimes some item of cloth falls off, or what's the word? It's like spun off in the course of his dancing. And it's not something the dancer does deliberately. It's just a manifestation of his enjoyment, of his bliss. So Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan says that Krishna's position is like that the expansion of the marginal living beings is not purposeful, but it's simply a manifestation of Krishna's expanding his all blissful nature. And that, as I recall, is what he said. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also deals with this. His explanation, I don't think he's quoting, I don't recall that he was commenting on Vedanta Sutras here, just dealing with the issue. He says that the expansion of the living beings is a manifestation of Krishna's completeness. That Krishna expands himself as the greatest, as the smallest. All different, all the bases are covered essentially. Krishna expands in so many different ways. And so, as part of his completeness, he expands himself as the living beings, as the Divinamsha, Jiva Shakti. Those are the references that I recalled. Krishna doesn't have a need for us, as far as I understand. The Prabhupada said Krishna doesn't need your rice, dal, and chapatis, but he's interested in our devotion. He has an affectionate, loving relationship with all the living beings, and so he seeks to restore the conditioned souls to that natural position. How's that?
Thank you very much. Can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Sure.
I sort of vaguely recall, I may be remembering this wrong, but various times when the fall of the jiva question flares up and people are arguing about it and such, there was some mention, like I said, I'm not sure if I'm remembering it correctly, but maybe you can corroborate that one reason or a reason for Krishna or the jivas falling is that it's part of Krishna's pastime that he wants to save someone. He wants to save the fallen souls, so it's a pastime for him, which, I don't know if that's valid or not, or if any acharyas have said it or not, but it reminded me somewhat of like a child, like a little boy who plays with toy soldiers or a little girl who plays with dolls. And, part of the play is that some toy soldiers are the enemy, or for the little girl, the doll is naughty. And so she punishes the doll, even though that's her baby and whatever. So I was just wondering if there's any validity to that idea.
Certainly, Krishna takes pleasure in bringing the fallen jivas back to him. Someplace there's a reference, Jayādvaita commentary, I believe, to the effect that there's a special love between Krishna and the living entities who were conditioned and who return to him. That they've overcome essentially the obstacles of the material energy, fought their way beyond the obstacles of the material energy to come back to him. So they have there's a special affection there. I don't recall any reference to the effect that the living being, that this is the reason that Krishna has expanded himself as living entities, as fallen souls, so that he can rescue them. I don't recall that. That would be a different argument.
Yeah. I wouldn't have brought it up, except the person who did bring it up was, I respect his shastric knowledge, so I didn't want to get into the argument with him any further, but it's something that stuck with me, and so I wanted to ask you about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just since we just read it last night, I think just out of interest, we can, I'll cite a couple of sentences from Prayers by the Personified Vedas, that is from Prabhupada's summary in the Krishna book. It is not improper to conclude that the living entities appearing within this material world in different shapes, such as human beings, demigods, animals, birds, and beasts, all get their respective bodies due to different desires. No one can say when such desires were awakened in them, and therefore it is said, anadi karma. The cause of such material existence is untraceable. No one knows when material life began, but it is a fact that it does have a point of beginning. Because originally, every living entity is a spiritual spark. As a spark falling onto the ground from a fire has a beginning, so a living entity coming to this material world has a beginning, but no one can say when. I won't comment on that. Just thought I'd recite it since it came up. A bit tangentially in your question. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you very much. There's a comment from Saraswati in the chat box. I'm sorry, there's a comment from Saraswati in the chat box. If she doesn't want to read it, I can read it for her. Okay, I'll read it then. Param Puja Maharaj. Krishna claims all jivas are like his children. So even in the material world, we find parents have children to experience that joy. And even if children are imperfect, still parents don't regret having them. They always wish them well and love them unconditionally.
Yes. Thank you for that. Shashta shlokir artuk korite prakash kotome kohiye she lokir abha. To explain the 6th verse, I shall first give a hint of its meaning. I had the 6th verse all queued up on my phone, but now I need the phone to broadcast here. Would someone like to find the 6th verse of the first chapter? And recite it for. Okay.
I'm sorry, I won't be fast enough.
You won't be fast enough. Okay.
I'm counting on my husband.
I'm counting on your husband. Okay. No one's so far coming up with the verse. It can come when we find it, we can introduce it. Avatari Prabhu Pracharila Shankirtan Eho Baihya Hetu Purbe Koriache Shutron. The Lord came to propagate Sankirtan. That is an external purpose, as I have already indicated. Avatare Har Eka Ache Mukhya Bij Roshika Shekhar Krishner She Kardra Nid. There's a principal cause for Lord Krishna's appearance. It grows from his own engagements as the foremost enjoyer of loving exchanges. Roshika Shekhar. Okay, looks like we're getting the verse heading my way. Not quite. Yeah. No. 6th verse. Okay.
I have it also,
Cool.
Maharaj. I can read it if you like.
Well, I've got it now. Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayaiva Svadyo Yena Bhuta Madhurima Kidrisho Va Madhya Chokyam Shasya Mad Anubhavata Kidrisham Vedi Lobhat Tadbhavaja Samajani Shachi Garbha Sindho Hadim. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love. The Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appeared from the womb of Srimati Shachi Devi as the moon appeared from the ocean. That's the sixth verse, which Kaviraj Goswami is now explaining. Oti gurta hetushe tribidho prakar damodar jahar prachar. That most confidential cause is threefold. Swarup Damodar has revealed it. Swarup Goshai Prabhurati Antaranga Tahate Janena Prabhur E Prashona. Swarup Goshai is the most intimate associate of the Lord. He therefore knows all these topics well. Purport. Prior to the Lord's acceptance of the renounced order, Purushottam Bhattacharya, a resident of Navadvip, desired to enter the renounced order of life. Therefore, he left home and went to Benares, where he accepted the position of brahmacharya from a Mayavadi sannyasi. When he became a brahmachari, he was given the name Sri Damodar Swarup. He left Benares shortly thereafter without taking sannyas, and he came to Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, where Lord Chaitanya was staying. He met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there and dedicated his life for the service of the Lord. He became Lord Chaitanya's secretary and constant companion. He used to enhance the pleasure potency of the Lord by singing appropriate songs, which were very much appreciated. Swarup Damodar could understand the secret mission of Lord Chaitanya, and it was by his grace only that all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya could know the real purpose of the Lord. Swarup Damodar has been identified as Lalita Devi, the second expansion of Radharani. However, text 160 of Kavi Karnapur's authoritative Gauragano Desh Dipika describes Swarup Damodar as the same Vishaka Devi who serves the Lord in Goloka Vrindavan. Therefore, it is to be understood that Sri Swarup Damodar is a direct expansion of Radharani, who helps the Lord experience the attitude of Radharani. Any questions there so far? Radhikar Bhav Murti Prabhur Antar She Bhave Dukha Dukha Ute Nirantar. The heart of Lord Chaitanya is the image of Sri Radhika's emotions. Thus, feelings of pleasure and pain arise constantly therein. Purport. Lord Chaitanya's heart was full of the feelings of Srimati Radharani, and his appearance resembled hers. Swarup Damodar has explained his attitude as Radha Bhavamurti, the attitude of Radharani. One who engages in sense gratification on the material platform can hardly understand Radha Bhav, but one who is freed from the demands of sense gratification can understand it. Radha Bhav must be understood from the Goswamis, those who are actually controllers of the senses. From such authorized sources, it is to be known that the attitude of Srimati Radharani is the highest perfection of conjugal love, which is the highest of the 5 transcendental mellows. And it is the complete perfection of love of Krishna. These transcendental affairs can be understood on 2 platforms. One is called elevated, and the other is called super elevated. The loving affairs exhibited in Dwarka are the elevated form. The super elevated position is reached in the manifestations of the pastimes of Vrindavan. The attitude of Lord Chaitanya is certainly super elevated. From the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, an intelligent person engaged in pure devotional service can understand that he always felt separation from Krishna within himself. In that separation, he sometimes felt that he had found Krishna and was enjoying the meeting. The significance of this separation and meaning and meeting is very specific. If someone tries to understand the exalted position of Lord Chaitanya without knowing this, he is sure to misunderstand it. One must first become fully self-realized. Otherwise, one may misidentify the Lord as Nagara, or the enjoyer of the damsels of Braja, thus committing the mistake of rasabhas, or overlapping understanding. So one has to understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the teachings of the Goswamis, and especially Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami, the most intimate associate of the Lord. The Radha Bhava duty Savalitam, Naumi Krishna Swarupa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the manifestation of Srimati Radharani, and his heart, it's said here, reflects her mood, where one can see the mood of Srimati Radharani in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Bhava. And this Radha Bhava has to be understood by a person who's properly undertaken the process for self-purification, who is free from the desire for enjoyment of the senses, who's controller of the senses, and who's properly guided by a bona fide spiritual master. There's a class of supposed Vaishnavas called the Gauranga Nagaris, who worship Lord Chaitanya as the enjoyer of the gopi. They've got it half right. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, the Gopinath, but he's in the mood of Srimati Radharani. He's not in the mood of Gopinath. He's not in the mood of enjoyer. He's in the mood of the devotee who wants to give enjoyment to the Lord. So worshiping him as the enjoyer creates a disturbance. When the Lord wants to be in the mood of the devotee, then worshiping him as the enjoyer of the gopis is inconsistent. It's inconsistent with the Lord's purpose, what he wants to do, or the mood in which he's appeared. That's, we read that Swarup Damodar used to augment the feelings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by singing appropriate songs. And later in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll read how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be feeling a particular kind of ecstasy, and Swarup Damodar would sing a particular verse that would enhance the Lord's feelings. This gets very specific and subtle. There's so many verses in Srimad Bhagavatam or other Shastras. Swarup Damodar wasn't simply pulling one out at random. The verses would be particularly selected to enhance the particular mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the Gauranga Nagaris, they can't get near the particular mood that the Lord is feeling at any particular time. They can't even understand that he's in the mood of a devotee. So that we have to see. The Lord is tasting, meeting with the Lord, meeting with Krishna, and he's tasting separation, especially from Krishna. So in this way, he's experiencing the fullness of the feelings of the gopi. Saraswati, I've heard that in the Pushti Marg Shastras, there are confidential associates. Could someone finish that? I disappeared from my phone.
I have heard that in the Pushti Marg Shastras, there are confidential associates that are stated as incarnations of various gopis, like Chandravali, Lalita. So if this is true, then are such incarnations also present in all other bona fide sampradayas too?
Are they present in all other bona fide sampradaya? First of all, I'm really uninformed about what Pushti Marg says about this. In general, the sampradayas don't even deal with Krishna Lila, Ramanujacharya, and so on. The focus of the members of the Sri Sampradaya is on Narayan. So they're not going to be focusing on questions of who is who in Krishna Lila. That's just outside their scope of attention. they're more for worshiping the Lord in as Narayana. Maybe that's as far as I can go on answering that question. Anything else? Okay. Shesha Lilai Prabhu Krishna Viraha Unma Brahma Moy Ishta Ar Prolab Moyabad. In the final portion of his pastimes, Lord Chaitanya was obsessed with the madness of separation from Lord Krishna. He acted in erroneous ways and talked deliriously. Purport. Lord Sri Chaitanya exhibited the highest stage of the feelings of the devotee in separation from the Lord. This exhibition was sublime because he was completely perfect in the feelings of separation. Materialists, however, cannot understand this. Sometimes materialistic scholars think he was diseased or crazy. Their problem is that they always engage in material sense gratification and can never understand the feelings of the devotees and the Lord. Materialists are most abominable in their ideas. They think they can enjoy directly perceivable gross objects by their senses, and that they can similarly deal with the transcendental features of Lord Chaitanya. But the Lord is understood only in pursuance of the principles laid down by the Goswamis, headed by Swarup Damodar. Doctrines like those of the Nadi and Nagaris, class of so-called devotees, are never presented by authorized persons like Swarup Damodar or the six Swamis. The ideas of the Gauranga Nagaris are simply a mental concoction, and they are completely on the mental platform. Okay. I think we can end here and at Kirtan. There's one comment? Okay.
Murari Gupta said, did Swarup Damodar even in himself, or they came to us through six Goswamis?
Murari Gupta Prabhu asks whether Swarup Damodar gave any teachings himself or whether they came down to us through the six Goswamis. Swarup Damodar Goswami had apparently a notebook in which so much was given. But as far as I understand that the notes of Swarup Damodar Goswami have been lost. Kaviraj Goswami specifically says that he's referred to these notes in compiling Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita. And we find some specific verses composed by Swarup Damodar Goswami here in Chaitanya Caritamrita. The author of Chaitanya Caritamrita is quoting from Swarup Damodar. So we have both. We have some direct statements by Swarup Damodar, and then we have teachings that have been handed down. Either they were either known to the earlier acharyas directly before having been lost, or else they were coming down as understanding received through the Sampradaya. I hope that helps. Okay. Thank you, Murai. Kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishwavad Gwanamanta Paripajikacharya Stotra Shrimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Jayādvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Sham Kund Radha Kundi Ki Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navdeep Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Gangamai Ki Jai, Jamunamai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Thank you, Panchatattva from Mayapur.
From Mayapur.
Hare
Got our
Krishna.
internet connection.
Hare All right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Gurudev.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Kanti. Hare Krishna. All right.
Devotees, please check out the video, Q&A video on the Maharaj's YouTube channel, and the links are in the chat box. And thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.